This is about a police officer that actually was in charge of setting up a speed trap in an intersection. It was a 50 kilometers an hour section of the city. He goes early in the morning, gets in the corner, prepares his equipment, and he waits and he waits and he waits all day. Nothing happened. Finally, it was getting the afternoon, and then it was this woman driving this sport car. She was driving 120 kilometers an hour. So the guy stopped her, and the officer with big grin on his face, right? He goes there and said, "Lady, I've been waiting for you all day." And she said, "I know, officer. I came as fast as I could."
I've heard that one before. That one's not bad. Not bad.
Okay. I want to talk to you today about the longest week of the year. But I also wanted to call it something like a year-long week. But it doesn't make much sense. But if you bear with me, what I'm about to tell you, it may even make sense. Let's leave it for the longest week of the year. And I would like to pick it up a little bit, Rabbi Matthew, about what you mentioned about all the instructions for the Mishkan and the priests and everything. And you said it's so dry.
No, not trying to be rude or anything.
No, but it is dry. And usually we wonder why we need the Torah to talk about all these things related to the temple when we don't have a temple anymore. In fact, if you think about it, the rabbis calculate that about 25% of the Torah is connected one way or another to something related to the Mishkan, which is a lot. 25% of the Torah. So don't we have anything more important to talk about than to use 25% of the space to talk about a Mishkan that actually God knew from the get-go that a Mishkan was going to be something transitory. Eventually, we were going to have a temple, and many of the things that were prepared for the Mishkan were going to be obsolete. But yet, the Torah spent all this time talking about those things. Same happened in the Talmud. Now, the Talmud spent at least 1/3 of the content talking about the temple in Jerusalem. 1/3. And then and also the temple is something that we enjoy for a few years. Then the temples were destroyed, at least the first temple. There was the one that was intended to be there. And that's it. It's gone. Then we have over 2,000 years now of Judaism without a temple. And yet we have to go through the Torah and through the Talmud and read all these things that have nothing for us, at least in the surface. Because I believe that if God spent or decided to take 25% of the Torah talking about the Mishkan, knowing that it was going to be something transitory, it means that it has to have a message, that it will transcend the physicality of the Mishkan. Yes, the physical Mishkan lasted for a little bit, but the meaning of the Mishkan, the idea of the connection with God, the idea to create a world where God will feel comfortable being, it's something that continues for every generation. And the rabbis keep finding beautiful messages on everything related to the Mishkan, from the measurements to the materials, to the positions, to the size, etc. So we do have so much in something that we sometimes don't look at it twice because it's transitory. It's gone. Nothing for us. But I believe that we are what we are as a people, as a nation of Israel, because of that original Mishkan, then the temple, and then it evolved into something else. But the effect, the influence of that is still present in our lives, even today. Now, I was thinking that in general, we don't pay much attention to something that is transitory. In fact, we try to avoid those things. But sometimes it's a mistake, because transitory doesn't mean less important or less significant than something that it may last for a little longer. And as we approach Pesach, this is one of the questions that many Jews have every year. Is it worth it? So much preparation for something that lasts 1 week? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I did. My wife surely did. When we have to start cleaning the house, I said, is it worth it, all this craziness, for 1 week? Something that is transitory. Pesach ends, and then it's gone. But again, all that preparation and that 1 week celebration, it's something that if done properly and if it's understood properly, has the power to affect your entire year. That's what I call it, the longest week of the year. Because it's something that you celebrate for a week, but the effect of understanding freedom, of understanding that we have to get rid of the chametz of our lives, that is the ego. If you can understand that in 1 week, it has the power to affect you and to enhance your spiritual life for the rest of the year. Yes. 1 month preparation, 1 day celebration, 1 year enjoying the results of that. If you think about it, human lives are not much different. We're also transitory beings. We are here for a short time in this world. So are we going to use the same rationale and say, why bother perfecting my life? Why bother becoming better if I'm going to be here for such a short period of time? But no, we understand that even though we might be on this earth for a limited period of time, we know that our influence, the things that we do here, stay in this world and in the people around us for multiple generations. So maybe I was thinking that this week's Parsha, with so many things that seems to be obsolete, transitory, and in the past, maybe it's teaching us something deeper. Maybe it's teaching us that transitory doesn't really mean obsolete or doesn't really mean that it's not important. Because sometimes you can have 1 week that it can affect your entire year. And sometimes you can have an event or something happen to you that it lasts a few minutes, but it can affect your entire life. That's why this year, enjoy Pesach and enjoy the longest week of the year. Shabbat Shalom.